Hey everybody, if you consider yourself a PC gamer, then you know how popular Steam is. It's widely regarded as the best desktop gaming client available. One of the elements that makes Steam so useful is their review system. Steam has one of the best review systems of any platform, not just gaming platforms. And for indie devs, these reviews are extremely important. A Steam review is made up of 4 key components: the thumbs up or thumbs down icon, how much time the player has spent playing the game overall and at the time of the review, whether or not the player received the game for free or during early access, and of course, the player's comments about their experience. There's also other helpful things included, like the reviewer's profile and all of their previous reviews. Because of the depth of these reviews, it's so vital for an indie developer to receive positive reviews. And due to the amount of time and love most developers put into their games, it can feel absolutely devastating when you receive a negative review. So, how do you respond to negative reviews? Well, Steam actually recommends the following approach when it comes to responding to a review. Though it may be tempting, not every review needs to be responded to. A developer's response will frequently draw more attention than the original statement, potentially turning a small issue into a much larger community discussion. It's also not a good idea to use this feature to refute customer opinions. Your direct attention can be seen as validation or a defensive attempt to silence your customers. To sum it up, in most cases, you shouldn't respond to a negative review on Steam. However, there once was a time when I received a negative review and I felt the need to respond. Here's my story. Henry's Day was the biggest solo project I had ever worked on. Because of how massive this game was compared to my previous game, I figured there were still issues I hadn't discovered yet, even after having several people playtest the game multiple times. When I released Henry's Day, I knew it was only a matter of time before I would receive a negative review. And there it was. Just a few days after the release of Henry's Day, a big red thumbs down with a very long comment attached to it. The reviewer had a lot of negative things to say about my game, but what they said was extremely valuable. Their biggest issue was with the lack of customizations for the settings. They wanted to be able to adjust the visuals, like turning off the motion blur, and they needed to add custom key bindings as they were left-handed. This was huge. There's so much to account for when building an entire game on your own that the thought of someone being left-handed and trying to play my game never even crossed my mind. Instead of getting defensive or upset about the review, I decided to attempt to fix the issues the reviewer had with my game. The initial settings system I had in the game only allowed you to change the graphics quality and adjust the volume. I was able to overhaul this system into a more useful one that allowed the player to adjust the motion blur, max FPS, shadows, resolution, screen size, and more. And of course, the player could now customize their key bindings. Not only did I fix every issue the reviewer mentioned about my game, but I implemented this fix in just a couple of days after receiving their negative review. Once the update was in place, I properly tested it and decided to respond to the reviewer. In my response, I thanked them for their review and told them that they brought up a lot of good points. I assured them I fixed the issues and wished them a better gameplay experience. What happened next shocked me. The reviewer decided to change their not recommended review to a recommended review. They also edited their initial comment and said a lot of nice things about the update and how quickly it was implemented. This taught me so much about how to respond to negative criticism and that the timing of that response is just as important as the response itself. If I would have implemented the same fix 2 months later instead of 2 days later, I doubt the player would have changed their review. At that point, they probably would have just forgotten about my game. I also didn't respond to their review expecting them to change it to a positive one. I responded because I wanted them and anybody else that read their review to know I had fixed the problems that were laid out. But I gotta say, as an indie dev who doesn't get a ton of reviews, the fact that they were actually willing to change their review to a positive one is so helpful. So if you're about to launch your first game and you're afraid of negative criticism, don't be. Find a way to use that feedback to your advantage and make your game better. Well, that's it. I hope this video helped someone. If you'd like to share a previous experience where you received negative feedback about your game, please do so in the comments. Thanks again, everyone, and I'll catch you later.